Taking the time to speak with us today for Primetime Local News is Damien Kurek, MP for Battle River-Crowfoot. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Shelby. It's great to be with you again here today.
Of course. Thank you for being able to give us some of your time now. Now, I wanted to start off for this year-end interview to be able to speak about some of the highlights that you might remember throughout the year 2021 that you'd like to share.
Yeah, sure. I think that the first thing, especially being that there was a little bit of a surprise election that happened over the last year, it certainly is once again just truly an honor, one of the honors of my life to be able to represent the constituency of Battle River-Crowfoot and the people of East Central Alberta. And I take that responsibility very, very seriously as we approach what are hopefully future opportunities and address the serious challenges that our region faces. So I think in terms of kind of the highlight, just having that true honor and privilege to be a representative, to be a member of Parliament, to represent the amazing people of Battle River-Crowfoot truly is an incredible honor, and I take that responsibility seriously. When it comes to over the past year, in the midst of COVID, in the midst of some economic challenges, folks in East Central Alberta have had a series of challenges that they've had to overcome. But the amazing thing is, Shelby, is that each and every time they have risen to the challenge, whether it be small communities addressing situations where someone is in need, or if it's just dealing with the challenges of the pandemic, helping those that are down and out, whether because of economic challenges, whatever the case is. I think that there certainly is a lot to be hopeful for. Then when it comes to kind of the political side, I think that certainly many of the people that I speak with were disappointed about the national results of the election, but holding the Liberals to the status quo gives us a strong position to be an effective opposition. And over the last number of weeks, we've certainly endeavored to do that. Not to say that there's not significant frustrations, but certainly we are doing everything we can, myself and the Conservative team from across Alberta and Western Canada, to make sure that the practical challenges of our folks are heard in our nation's capital.
Now, you're already bringing it up a little bit earlier on in your answer about some of the challenges, of course, that you've overcome throughout the year. And I kind of want to go a little bit more in depth about that. Would you be able to expand on some of the challenges that you did face throughout 2021?
Yeah. I think to sum it up, a lot of it is centered around COVID and the challenges that I've faced and I've heard about from thousands of constituents are related to the economic challenges as a consequence of the pandemic. Their challenges related to how government policy affects individuals, affects their livelihoods, and certainly as those challenges by no means are past us. But I think that folks have shown an incredible amount of resilience, and certainly a big part of my objective as their representative has been to echo and amplify those concerns in our nation's capital. Whether it comes to government policy, whether it comes to issues surrounding COVID, whether it comes to making sure that the unique economic challenges faced by East Central Alberta, to ensure that those issues are heard. I know specifically one of the big challenges is when you had a very, very divisive election, and then one of the first major actions of the Liberal government was to basically put a cap on Alberta's ability to prosper through some of the surprise announcements. Certainly I wasn't consulted. Certainly Albertans were not consulted about putting a cap on Alberta's oil and gas sector. And an announcement made overseas, that left many folks saying, well, look, we lead the world in terms of environmentally sustainable, ethically produced natural resources, whether that be crude oil, natural gas, whatever the case is, and yet we're seen to be being punished, and certainly that's a huge challenge. The fight is not over on that front yet, but it's being able to highlight those concerns and fight for the people. These are hardworking folks that, and in many cases provide the backbone of what is Canada's economy. You know, oil and gas energy is Canada's largest industry. It's its largest export. And there's so much potential and hope in that. And I speak to constituents each and every day about that potential and that hope. And certainly, it's been a significant challenge when you have politics getting in the way of good decision making, and that's certainly what we're seeing on that issue. I can assure you that there's a lot more to come in terms of the way that I and many of my colleagues plan to stand up for the hardworking people of Western Canada and all Canadians when it comes to ensuring that that those concerns are heard, and that we have not just a strong approach to address challenges with the environment, but to ensure that Canadian industry and Canadian innovation leads the world in how we can be hopeful and actually have an economy that allows Canadians, allows Albertans, and allows those in East Central Alberta to prosper going forward.
And it's good to hear, from what you've been saying, that you've seen lots of support throughout the year. Now, time for my last question, of course, the classic one that I have for our year-end interviews is, what are your plans for next year that people should know about?
Yeah, great question. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is being appointed the Deputy Shadow Minister for Rural Economic Development and Rural Broadband Strategy. And really simply, when you get down to, beyond what, is a pretty long title that has to fit on a business card, it comes down to making sure that rural Canadians have a voice. And I'm very much looking forward to working with that Shadow Minister and a strong team to forward the concerns that are felt by my constituents, felt by Albertans, and felt by all Canadians when it comes to rural Canada, and to really, in terms of economic development, making sure that there is a strong strategy going forward to make sure that rural Canada is a part of Canada's economic future, to ensure that rural Canadians can not just continue to survive at the status quo, but rather that they are given everything they need to prosper. And so when it comes to moving forward, I'm really, really excited about that opportunity, and the fact that I not only get to continue fighting for the people that sent me to Ottawa, but to help fight for all rural Canadians across our country to see a strong future that includes rural Canada. So that's one thing. There's a few other things that I'm really excited to be working on. You'll have to stay tuned, but I've heard time and time again that Canadians are especially Albertans, rural Albertans, are frustrated with the status quo of representation and whatnot. And I know with the report that adds I think 3 seats to Alberta and a boundary redistribution, making sure that our democracy is responsive to the needs of the people that I represent. Really excited to be working on a whole host of things related to that, but you'll have to stay tuned. So that's just a little bit of a teaser. Excited to unveil some of that stuff in the year to come, but lots of work to do. And I think that as I look over both this past year, the election, the thousands of conversations that I had on the doorsteps of folks in Battle River-Crowfoot, and being able to continue that work as we go forward, I'm filled with optimism, notwithstanding the very, very serious challenges we face. But I'm filled with optimism, not because of what any one government or any one politician can or can't do, but rather because the people that I represent have shown the way that there is incredible opportunity and an incredible future for this region. And I'm really, really excited about that.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Damien. Thank you for giving us your time and giving those wonderful answers.
Thank you, Shelby, and may I wish you and all of your listeners all the very best in this new year. There's I believe a reason to be optimistic. I am a natural optimist, but certainly I do believe that there's lots of reason to be optimistic. So all the best in this year to come.